Ron Elmer is a Democrat seeking the nomination to run for North Carolina Treasurer. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Well, why do you want to be Treasurer?
Well, I see a terrific opportunity to save the state quite a bit of money. Right now, the state treasurer manages about $100 billion for the state, but we only manage about a third of it in-house, and 2/3 of it we outsource to 200 managers all over the country at a cost of $500 million. So, the department that manages the 1/3 only costs about $5 million. So the more money we can bring internal, the more money we can save the state. And there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars that could be saved. And that's money that wouldn't have to go into the pension fund in the future if we can move the money internally and save those manager fees. That's money that could be used for teacher raises or tax cuts or whatever the legislature decides they'd like to do with a few $100 million.
Do you think you could use the existing staff to manage that influx of money once you cancel those money management accounts, or do you need to hire a new team that would grow? I don't want to grow the bureaucracy, grow the office, if you will.
Right. Actually, it takes more head count to outsource to the 250 external managers than it would be if we managed it internally. So the third of the portfolio that is managed in-house, it's only like six or eight people at the max, and then we've got 20 or so that are doing the outsourcing. So the more that we could bring inside, we wouldn't actually have to add head count. We could actually lower the headcount. It would take less people to manage the stock portfolio internally than it is to outsource it to all these different managers.
But those money managers out there, they're smart people, and they've gotten great returns, or so we believe, and the pension's in good shape. But you see a challenge there and a problem. Is the problem in the returns or in the principle of outsourcing?
The problems are in the returns. The pension fund is so big. The pension fund is $90 billion of the $100 billion that the treasurer manages. And so it is so big, when you add up these 250 external managers, we look like a giant index fund. Year in and year out, we look like an index fund, minus these huge expenses. So the returns can actually be improved by about 1% a year if we could eliminate the external managers and just accept the index fund strategy that we ultimately end up having, because once you add up all these 250 portfolios, that's what we look like anyways. So by bringing it in-house and indexing, we can boost the returns by about 1% a year. So on $90 billion, you're talking about almost $1 billion a year that could be the difference.
Can you find state employees, which these folks would be, they're very talented as it is, but if you're on Wall Street, there's a perception and a pizzazz about that. Can you find that talent and bring it and add that pizzazz to the treasurer's office?
We absolutely can, and we have a perfect example of it already in the treasurer's office. So the entire bond portfolio has been managed in the treasurer's office for decades. And we've been able to get the right people at the right salary and do a fantastic job. They've done a great job with the bond portfolio, so we just need to do that with the stock portfolio. Now, historically, it was against the law for us to do the stocks internally, and that's how we got where we are. We did it to ourselves. But several years ago, we changed that law so we can bring it in-house. We just haven't done it yet. But we have a perfect example of how to do it because we're already doing it. In fact, it's more difficult to manage a bond portfolio than a stock portfolio. I've managed both, so I know that. So we're doing the hard part ourselves, and then we're outsourcing, and that department costs like $5 million a year. And then we're outsourcing the easy stuff at a cost of $500 million a year. And the state treasurer's office has quite a few folks that make over $200,000 a year, so we can pay enough to get the talent that we need to do what we need to do. We're already doing it on the bond side, so I'm confident we can do it on the stock side. And don't forget, we've got a lot of homegrown talent here. Charlotte's a financial center, and we've got Duke and UNC, two of the top 20 MBA programs in the United States.
All right, 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning.
Well, 2-second warning there, Ron. Thank you so much for having a few moments with us, seeking the Democratic nomination for state treasurer in North Carolina. Thank you for sitting down for a few moments.
Great, thank you.